Okay, welcome back. We're going to be looking again today at VAPI voice agents. Last time we were handling inbound calls, getting someone booked in for a gym tour. Today we're going to be outbound calling. We're going to get our voice agent to pick up on new leads that have come through to our funnel, outbound call them and set up a meeting for later down the line for one of your sales advisors to close that sale and turn this lead into a paying customer. So let's have a look at how we can get that done. So definitely one of the key reasons why I built this was stemming from my own experience in calling leads just to find out that they've already gone somewhere else and someone else has gotten to that lead before me. The reality is that, especially in the financial services sector, any lead that comes through to you, most likely they're shopping around. And you can see from the stats on the screen just how much of a disadvantage that's putting you at. I mean, calling a lead within the first minute boosts conversion rates by 391%. Now that's not just getting them on the phone, that's actually converting them into a paying customer. Now I'll put the link to all of these sources in the description so you can have a look for yourself, but it also found you're 100 times more likely to reach the lead within 5 minutes compared to waiting just 30 minutes afterwards, and that was the same for qualifying, so 21 times more likely within 5 minutes rather than just waiting 30 minutes. So massive advantage if you can get to them quickly. Finally, 78% of customers buy or engage with the company that responds to their inquiry first. Which makes sense, right? If you've just put in a lead form and someone calls you straight away, that topic is already front of mind. So of course you're going to be keen to discuss it more, get that second booking lined up and just discover what the business can do to help you. So what we're going to do now is just have another look at a quick demo. I'm going to get this voice agent to give me a call, ask me some questions and get a booking lined up.
This is Ben from Aniseed Insurance. Who was I speaking with?
Hi, this is Ryan.
Hi, Ryan. It looks like you were interested in speaking to someone about life insurance. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Great. Did you have any questions, or did you want to get a meeting booked in with one of our senior advisors?
Yeah, let's get a meeting booked.
Awesome. What day would suit you best?
Well, what times do you have available tomorrow?
This will just take a sec. We have the following times available tomorrow: 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m. Which one works best for you?
What about 1 p.m?
Perfect. Can I get your phone number and email to confirm the booking?
Sure, phone number 1234567 and email is 123@test.com.
One moment. Thanks, Ryan. Your meeting is all set for tomorrow at 1 p.m. A senior advisor will be in touch with you then. Anything else you need to know?
No, that's it. Thank you. See you later.
No worries, Ryan. Have a great day. See you later.
Well, and we'll give this a second. There it goes. Sweet. So obviously a few things happened there. So I received a call on my phone number that you saw me enter into the lead calling sheet. So that came through this automation, picked up my phone number, sent it to VAPI, got the call and updated the cell with the call ID. So we know that that call went through. Now this was, if you watched my last video, you'll be familiar with this. This was checking the availability in the calendar for a booking. So it was checking the times available for tomorrow as I requested. Once I decided and given it the rest of my information, here it went through this flow to book me in for the appointment. So here's the booking module. Here's me telling the system to confirm the booking, and coming down here it was updating the cell and the lead calling sheet with when my booking was requested, so that's perfect. And final one was just the transcript. So when the call was completed, it updated my lead calling sheet with a summary of what happened on the call, so that you can see that there. So before we tuck in, just wanted to make you aware that there are free resources available in the description. It'll be the first link. It'll take you to my website where you can access the templates for the make.com builds and the prompt for the VAPI agent. So what you can do is download those templates, pop them into your make.com, your own scenarios, and follow along like that, just updating the connections. Or if you like, you can start it from scratch and follow along with me. Either way, just a way to save you a bunch of time, and also that prompt is going to be really valuable as well, because as far as prompt engineering goes, it's definitely one of the most important thing for voice agents, so you want to make sure that you're getting that right. So feel free to access those below, and otherwise let's get into it. So what we're going to do first is just jump straight into the Google Sheets. So just create yourself a new sheet, call it what you like it, and set up some rows. So the important rows for this automation are the phone number, call ID, booking, and transcript. The first name, last name, and we can actually get rid of answered. I'll leave that there for now. Just it's important that we keep everything in the same place. You'll figure that out further down the line. Assuming you'll have, when your leads come through, some names, some other information. So set up your lead sheet how you want it set up. But for the demo and for learning how it's done, feel free to just copy this. So what we'll do first is just jump into extensions. We're going to want to set up make.com in our Google Sheets so we can get the sheets and the make automation all synced up. So what you'll do is jump into add-ons, click on get add-ons, and just search make for Google Sheets. So I don't think this is actually gonna, oh, hang on. I have luck here. Yeah, so obviously I've already got it installed, but yeah, make for Google Sheets, click there, install, and then we'll come back out, click on extensions, and once you've installed it, you should have this option down here. So we'll jump into settings, so we'll just think about it for a second and then pop up. So we've got some fields here, webhook URL there, and then these two. Let's fill in the webhook first. So we'll come back here, and the first module that we'll set up is Google Sheets Performer function. So this is pretty much a webhook. It's going to give you a URL, which you'll copy, bring back to your Google Sheets, and just paste in both of these boxes. Now, the Google Sheets is picking up on the phone number for the client, and I've got my phone number in the A row. So you'll set up the A1 to A however many leads you anticipate. So it can be, it should be really be A2 because I don't have a phone number in A1. But yeah, I've got it down to 5,000. Doesn't really matter however many you feel like going down. What's important is that we put the correct webhook URL in both of these fields. And for leads, the sheet name, if you had multiple sheets down the bottom here, you'd want to specify which sheet you're pulling the data from. I've only got the one, so I mean, it's pretty obvious. But now moving on from there, we'll come back to make.com. After the Google Sheets module is set up, the next one we want is to create an outbound phone call with VAPI. That's going to prompt you to set up your connection with VAPI. Now I'll just show you kind of what that looks like from my end. Obviously I've already got mine all set up in there, but to give you an idea of what that will look like, we can click add, and it's going to ask you for an API key. You can name it whatever you like, that's for your own reference, but I'll show you how to get your API key. So we'll come back over to VAPI, click on your username down here, and go to API keys. Obviously won't show you what my one is, but you'll click copy on that and then drop it in there, and then your connection will be set up. So the first thing we want is the assistant ID. That can be from your list of assistants, and don't be confused, it's not this one down here, this one at the top. So you can see copy assistant ID there. So we'll drop that in the top box. Now this one down here, the customer phone number. So like you saw when we set up in Google Sheets, the sheet is returning this range to us, so just the A range. So it will pick up those values, and you can see range, value, you've got my phone number here, which is what was used to make the call out to me. So you just click this one. Obviously I've already got that set in there, so we'll just get rid of one of those. And then phone number ID is the only other thing that you'll need in here. Now that's the phone number ID of the number that you're actually making the call from in VAPI. So in my previous video I showed you how to get set up with a phone number from Twilio. You can go back and check that out if you want to get yourself set up again. But we'll jump back into phone numbers, come down here, and then you've got your phone number ID just up the top there. So copy that, bring it over here and just paste it in there. So what that's going to allow us to do is, as soon as there's a value added into the A row, it's going to make that phone call for us and hopefully book in some meetings. So your next module that you'll want to set up is the data cell with Google Sheets. What we're looking to do here is update our lead chart with the call ID just for future analysis and looking at how the call went in VAPI, which can be really important for insights for businesses. So really important that we get that set up. So what you'll do, update a cell with Google Sheets, navigate to your lead sheet that you've already set up, and whatever cell that you have, or rather whatever column that you have your call ID set up as. So I've got it for B, so I'm going to put a B in here and click the range row end. So anytime there's a variable in here, you can just search it up as so. So the row end, that's just going to capture what row we're working with. So we got the phone number from row 2, so we're going to put the call ID in row 2. So just set that up as so, and the value that we're going to be putting in the call ID for the sheet is obviously the call ID. So we can just search it there and that will show up at the top on the VAPI module for us. So drop that in there, and that is the first automation set up. So what that's going to achieve for us is just making sure that as soon as a new lead has been added to the Google Sheets, it's going to jump in, give them a call and get them straight away booked in for that appointment. So the second automation that you saw when I was running the demo call was the check availability. Now, if you watched my first video, you'll be familiar with this. There's been no changes in how this is set up, but I will just do a quick run through. So essentially what we're doing here is with the webhook, this is being triggered by our prompt that we've set up in VAPI. Now, just a reminder, any kind of templates, any prompts, anything from these videos, they will be available in the description. So there'll be a link at the top where you can grab my resources, which will include all of the templates. So you can literally just copy and paste my work into your own setup. Obviously you have to do all the connections and whatnot, which is kind of why I'm showing you how to do those specifically. But that's going to save you a lot of time. Let me do the work for you, and you jump in and just set up your connections and you're free to go. So we'll have a quick look at this. So the webhook, the functionality from that is just grabbing the trigger from our prompt, which is the check availability. So you saw on the demo that as soon as I asked Ben when I wanted to check for times, so I said, what times do you have available tomorrow? That's when this ran. It's going to check those times and feed me back 3 times. Now I set it up specifically in the prompt to just read back 3 times, because if you just kind of let it go for it, it can kind of ramble on a bit and doesn't always do the best for the customer experience. So I set it as 3. You can set that as how many as you like, but you'll see in the prompt specifically where I've done that, so feel free to make changes there. Other than that, yeah, the rest of it is the exact same as the other video, so I won't go too much into it. Where things have slightly changed is with the book appointment setup. It's slightly different to the first video. The first video was just the webhook, Google Calendar and webhook. That's all pretty straightforward to set up, and it is in the previous video if you want to go check that out. So the first change from the previous flow is this router. So there's no filters attached to this like you might normally find with a router. Basically what we're doing is just separating out the flows. So we've got our webhook response like we had set up in the previous video. Now the change is what we're doing down here. Like I said, we are populating the field with the booking time. So the first module setup is the search rows with the Google Sheets. What we're doing here is just finding out what row we're dealing with, and to do so we will capture the call ID. So that we've got the filter here, you can see the call ID that pre-populates that it's in row B, and you will take the call ID from the webhook. So again, you can just search that up, message call ID, and just drop that one in there, and that's going to match with what populated in this automation. So once that's set up, everything else you can leave the same. Obviously you want to grab your spreadsheet ID, the lead calling, and the sheet name leads, and column range. Rest of the stuff you can leave the same. It's just important that we get the call ID figured out so we know where we're putting the rest of the data. So the next thing that we're doing is setting up a router which actually does have some filters to it. So the first filter is called booked, as you can see. What this is doing is checking whether we were able to successfully book a time using this second Google Calendar module. So the condition here that you can see is if there is a start time that exists, then it's going to populate our Google Sheets with the time that we booked in the calendar, and we've set up a fallback queue to send it down to this Google Sheet. So if for some reason something went wrong, it's just going to populate it with an NA. So the way you set that up is, you can call it what you like, but the condition will be the start time. So you can search that up here, and that's going to show up, and we can see that we successfully booked a time before. So we've got the 23rd of October, and that's why we took this route. So select that, click and start, and basic operator is exists. Now if it doesn't, we've set this flow up as just a fallback. So what you want to do is just click into this and click yes on here, and essentially what that's going to do is if this doesn't apply, it's going to take us down here. So now setting up the Google Sheets, we are looking for the update cell module. What we want to set up is basically just navigating to your lead sheet that you've already set up. You can see the path that we've taken to get there. Sheet name, leads, that was the name at the bottom of the sheet. Now cell is where we have the booking time. So we'll take you back, give you a look at that. So we've got it in F, and so we've got the F figure in there. And the row number that's been collected from the previous search rows function, and we are going to populate it with our start date. So you can see the start date has already been carried over, and we've got a booking time in there, which is perfect. Now, similar thing, update a cell on this flow, but rather than populating the value with the start date, obviously we don't have one, so we're just going to drop NA, and that's going to represent to us that for some reason something went wrong. Maybe they just hung up and didn't want to talk to us, or they weren't interested in booking a time. It's going to populate with the NA. So we're all set on this automation. So the final flow, the final piece to the puzzle, is just going to be capturing a bit of a summary of the transcript, which is going to give us just a high level view of how the call went and whether we were successful in booking them in for a meeting or not. So the first thing to set up is your webhook. So we're going to be creating a new webhook for capturing the end of call data. So once you've got this URL, you'll copy it and bring it back over to your VAPI dashboard. So obviously just make sure you're in the correct assistant, but you're going to come over to advanced and scroll right down here a bit and come to the messaging tab. So drop your URL in here, and the only other thing that we need to change in this screen is the server messages. So we want end of call report and function call. So that webhook is going to be triggered as soon as the call is ended. So the first thing that we want to do is just search rows again, the exact same process that we went through in that previous automation. So this is literally set up the exact same. We're just searching for the call ID just so we know what row we're dealing with, and then we're coming over to this router. So the router that we've set up, and the filter specifically, is a bit niche. The bottom filter that we've got set up is a call not answered. So what I've captured here is the message summary in the condition. So let's just have a search so you can see what that looks like. So we've got the message and then the summary. Now, you're probably a bit confused by this to start off with. The text operators contains I apologize. The reason for setting that up is because if you call someone and they don't answer, they're not going to be able to, VAPI is not going to be able to offer you a summary. And the way that they start off their summaries in this case will be, I apologize. And then the rest of the summary will be something like, there wasn't enough data for me to give you a full summary. So if the text operators contains I apologize, we know that they weren't picking up, or maybe just the call was very brief. Maybe they picked up and then hung up straight away. So that's going to take us down into updating this cell, which is just going to let us know that the customer didn't pick up. Now, we've got a fallback set up in the same way in the previous flow as a fallback. So if this condition doesn't meet, it's going to send us up here. So now we'll come to populating the Google Sheets with our summary. So you want the update a cell under Google Sheets module. We'll click into that just to see how this looks. So in the same way as the rest of them, we're just navigating to our sheet and finding the relevant cell. So this time the cell we are looking for is, come across a little bit here, is the transcript. I've got that in cell G. Whether you're the same, you can figure out for yourself, but whatever cell you have it in is what you'll want to put in here. So row number, we're collecting that from the search rows module just in relation with the call ID. So we've searched for the call ID, we've found that it is in row 2, so we're going to populate cell G in row 2 with our summary. So that's the value down here, and just again we will show you how to find that summary, and we'll drop that in there. So once that's populated, assuming that we have a summary available that's more than just I apologize for not getting you a summary, it's going to populate this sheet. So in a similar way that we set up in the previous automation, we will update this cell as well in the same way. So finding your sheet, navigating to the relevant cell, but just putting in NA because either they didn't answer or we didn't get sufficient time on the phone with them to be able to generate a summary that's going to mean anything to us. Beautiful. So that really does it for the automation side of things. I did just want to touch on a couple of key notes. Now, like I said, the prompt for this agent will be available in the description of this video, so feel free to check that out. You can also download the rest of the make.com templates to import directly into your own flows. The thing that I wanted to mention though was just this line here. So we've got our business hours set as 9 to 5. It is just an example. Whether that's your actual business hours, you can change that if you like, but specifically the time zone. So obviously I'm based in Brisbane and my time zone is GMT plus 10. It's important to put that in because it's pretty self-explanatory. If someone tells you that they want to book at 3 p.m, when is 3 p.m? So you want to put in your relevant time zone, and the agent will be able to pick that up and send through the correct information through that webhook. So I really hope this has been a helpful video for you, and I hope it helps you see the potential of using these outbound voice agents to get in touch with your leads. Just wanted to leave you with some use cases to think about. So financial services, imagine getting a lead come through, and it's the second that hits your CRM or your Google Sheets, it's getting straight on the phone, qualifying that lead and booking them in for a time for one of your sales experts to close that deal. E-commerce also is going to be a great use case. You can imagine that helping with cart abandonment. You've got someone on your website and they've left their cart alone. You can have this automation set up in a way that it's going to outbound call that person, offer them maybe a 10-15% discount and get them back in the buying process. Personal trainers, gyms, someone puts an inquiry through your website that they want to have a look at your services. This outbound agent can call them straight out and get them booked in for a time to come and see the gym. The I mean, the options are really limitless. As always, if you do have any questions about this, you can leave a comment on the video. Also, you've got my email address on the screen there, hello@aniseedai.com, or you can visit my website, aniseedai.com, where I've got my calendar there. You can book a time to have a chat with me if you've got any questions. If you're a business owner and you think that you might find some of these solutions helpful, but you really can't be bothered setting it up yourself, or maybe you're looking for something a bit more advanced, you can also visit my website or send me an email and we can book a time, no commitment, 30-minute call to have a look at your business use cases specifically and see what we could set up for you in AI in general to really help modernize your systems. So once again, thanks for being here. I hope you enjoyed and hope you got something out of it. If you are enjoying these videos, feel free to subscribe, leave a like on the video. There's going to be more videos to come, so make sure you stay tuned. Appreciate the time.